Hey, what's going on, y'all? I'd like to talk today about intensity. Intensity is not yelling. Intensity is a continuous follow-up on ensuring that the mission gets done. In order to initiate intensity, first you must have purpose. When you have purpose, you can hold people accountable, therefore you can be intense. You got to give a reason for intensity. For example, if I am leading a latrine class on how to clean a latrine, and I don't set them up for success, and I just say, hey, just clean this, and the walkout, don't give them any processes, no procedures, no techniques, and I leave and I come back and it has like 8 demerits, do I have a reason to be intense? No. Anytime you train, you must provide purpose before you can give intensity. So if you could have gave that 1% more to allow them to be successful, you failed them. It is hard to be intense when you don't set people up for success. And then when you try to be intense, it doesn't make sense. You're like, well, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Remember, you're a leader. Be intense when you set them up for success. So what I do is, my philosophy is this. In the early weeks of training, believe it or not, I'm understanding of their mistakes because they don't know. And if I didn't set them up for success, I'm chilling. The reason why I'm chilling is because I failed to give them the information before that. So I'll set them up for success. I'll fix whatever information I did not give them, but I'm not going to go ham on them yet. Do you understand? Are you good? And then they show that they're proficient maybe about 2 or 3 times. Then I know I can go ham. But I make sure that they understand it. By what? By them demonstrating their proficiency. So in the early weeks of training, I'm chilling. I'm not chill. I'm just like, okay, I didn't tell them about this. I didn't tell them about that. Now, let's talk about like the position of attention. Something that's easy. I go all out. You don't talk. You don't talk. You don't move around unless you ask for permission to adjust. And if they move at the position of attention, here's the way my intensity goes. Why are you moving? Are you getting paid to stand at the position of attention? Why are you embarrassing your brothers and sisters? They're standing at attention. They're earning their paycheck. Should I call finance and tell them to dock half your pay because you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing? Lock it in. Give me a 341, something. I always make it about the team when I'm being intense. People care more about other people than they do themselves. People are more willing to help somebody else over themselves. So I use that to my advantage. For example, when I'm trying to get the point across, I always make it about me. Why is that closing drawer like that? Why would you do that to me? Why? I didn't do nothing to you. I give you everything and you're not giving me anything back in return. How dare you? Why are you here? I didn't make you come here. You want me to get fired? Why do I do that? Because now they know that the way that their area looks and the way they perform affects me. So when I become intense, I bring purpose and value with it. It's not blind intensity, people. Make it about the team. Make it about the flight. Just keep that in mind because it makes intensity so much better. What if you and your teammate, or one's intense and one just chilling the whole time? Talk to them. You need to be on the same page. They don't, like I said, you don't need to be yelling to be intense, but you do need to follow up. And you do need to make sure they got your back. And when I'm talking about got your back, I'm talking about your teammate. If you teach like clothing drawer, and then you switch shifts and they come in the morning and the clothing drawer is disastrous, that's offensive. But sometimes it's a blind spot. Maybe they didn't open up clothing drawers. Maybe they didn't do walk and talk. So be understanding at first. Feed people, especially if you're a veteran. If you're a veteran in this game, you've been on the line for 2 years or more, it's time to give. You got to be approachable. You got to be merciful. You got to be gracious to these MTIs that are going to be taking your position. Make sure your teammate is just as intense as you, and it's not yelling. It's just staying on top of them, making sure they meet the objective of the lesson plan. That's it. Just keep that in mind, because you're a family at the end of the day. You family. You got to work together as a team. What I really want to get at, above all, is the fact that what do you demonstrate in front of your flight? If you're going ham on them, but you act like a fool around your little buddies and they can see you, and I'm talking about the trainees can see you acting like an idiot, they're not going to take you seriously. You're not worth remembering. You should epitomize how you want them to act. So I have a good friend, Master Sergeant Bishop, and we always stay locked in when our flight's looking at us. Always be locked in, but behind closed doors, we'll talk, we'll chat it up, we'll smile around each other. But when we leave each other's presence in private, game face back on. Remember this. Your trainees need to see what professionalism looks like. They need to see what urgency looks like. They need to see you outperforming your MTI peers. And they need to feel like they're so lucky to have you. And it ain't hard. So when you're in a dining facility, don't act like a fool around your peers. When you're outside at parade, lock it in. When you are with your flight, keep it locked in. Because as soon as you laugh and smile, your trainees think it's cool. And they let their guard down and they act like idiots when you're not around. Always, always be locked in. Always give them a reason why it's so important that they have discipline, especially when you're gone, especially on Sundays, especially when you have to go down to CQ real fast and come back upstairs. When you're gone, they're on their even better behavior because they don't want to dishonor you. Remember, you are the first example of what it's like to be an airman. You're the first example. Be disciplined. Have that self-control. Have that courage. Have that accountability. Perfection. Strive for perfection. Try it. Do it. Because if you're not striving for perfection, excellence is not attainable. If you're not striving for perfection, excellence will not be attainable. Same with your flight, same with you. Everything that the trainees are doing represents who you are. What I normally do is I don't throttle up and throttle down towards the end. I don't do that. In the early weeks of training, I know they're going to make mistakes. So I'm chilling. I'm on chill mode. But in the third week of training and beyond, excuse my expression, but foot on throats. Because that's game time. That's when stand team's coming around looking at everything. And I cannot embarrass my commander. I refuse. So those first 2 weeks are so critical. Set your people up for success. Remember, in the early weeks of training, you want them to make mistakes. Get it all out. Get it all out of their system. It's also going to make you a better MTI. When you allow mistakes, you allow mistakes to happen early. Then towards the very end, they're super proficient, super disciplined. They've worked out all the kinks. You don't want them to figure it out at the tail end of training, because then it's too late. Then there's no fear anymore. Then they can do whatever they want to do. Keep that in mind. You could do what you want. You could try to stay intense the whole entire time if you want to. But you're going to lose your voice. And they're never going to understand the real purpose around anything that you're saying, because it has nothing behind it. What I encourage you to do is, in the early weeks of training, hold them accountable to the very, very, very simple things like attention, But anything that you have to teach and everything like that, merciful, gracious, give them the information that they need. And if everybody in the flight cannot roll a shirt, it's your fault. They need to be retrained. Be gracious about it. Sometimes asking this, hey, flight, we're not understanding towels. What's going on? Hey, flight, your clothing drawers look worse this week. What's going on? Oh, laundry crew is passing out laundry at 20:30 at night. Oh. That's the reason why I don't get super intense. Because in the early weeks of training, the laundry crew doesn't know sometimes the best time to pass things out. They just know they empty everything out. So allow things to happen, allow things to flow. But in third week of training, you got to emphasize excellence in all we do, strive for perfection, reject mediocrity. I hope this helped. So what do we talk about today? We talked about intensity is not just yelling. We talked about it's continuously follow up because you want them to be successful. I'll give you one more tip that I do. Anytime they leave a dormitory, when you go downstairs, I don't care if it's drill or anything. If they're going to go downstairs for a prolonged period of time, closers and wall lockers stay wide open. The reason why I do that is really for two reasons. Number one is to show my supervision that I already walked the dorm and I want them to walk it and I want them to walk it quick. Number two is, come on, stand team, come up here. Check my dorm out. I want to represent my squadron and my commander. Oh, I'll give you a third reason. Trainers have nothing to hide. If you keep opening up the wall of your clone drawers every single day, you will find things that you're like, what are you doing? I'm so glad I opened these things up. But you got to do it every day. You got to do it every day. So it doesn't bite you in the rear end. Do it every day. Open them up. Write things down that the flight's struggling with. Put it on the whiteboard. Make your people better. That's following up. It's all about ensuring, with your life depending on it, that you know they're trained. And then when they come upstairs, tell them to close it. When nobody's in the dorm, who are you hurting? Nobody. Who are you helping? Everybody. It's so easy to walk your dorm when the wall lockers and clone drawers are open. Open up the empty ones too. Open up those empty wall locker and clone drawers too. So your instructor supervisor, your leadership, and stand team knows you're doing your job. All right. Thank you very much for listening, and I hope this helps. Intensity. Be purposeful in your intensity. All right, I'm out.